Rabbi Weiss?
I came in a little late now, so I just want to apologize. I wonder how many minutes I have to 5 minutes. Okay. With the help of the Almighty, I pray that He should bestow upon me His truth, His wisdom, that I may convey His message, and so sanctify His name and bring peace to the world. The world looks at the conflict, what is happening in the Holy Land, in Jerusalem, and so forth, as a conflict between religions, and therefore, as a conflict between religions, they sympathize with people who are suffering and look at anybody who opposes any of the religions. For instance, the Jews who had just suffered, therefore they look at it as anti-Semitic. And it's my responsibility as the chief rabbi of Palestine, not to be confused with Israeli rabbinate, Rabbi Teitelbaum, very famous, Satmar Rebbe, who's in Monroe, there's a community, and in New York he was the chief rabbi of Palestine. He stated that it's a responsibility on us not to let our religion be misrepresented. Maybe I should preface this with say that my father escaped from the Nazis when they came into Hungary. The majority of my mother's and father's family of blessed memory were killed. My grandparents were killed in Auschwitz. My father-in-law was in Auschwitz. And so we suffered. We know what it means, and that the world was silent by suffering. And so it's nothing. It's not such a small issue by us when we see, God forbid, Jews at danger. But that's not the issue here. The issue is that people have to understand we have a religion of 3,000 years, Judaism, to be subservient to God. We practiced it. We follow God into fire and water, and we uphold the Torah strictly. God told us that we were sent into exile because we weren't on that high level required with the destruction of the temple, and we are forbidden, expressly forbidden, to try to leave exile. For 2,000 years, we went through the Inquisition, Crusades. We never attempted to reestablish a country. Around 100-odd years ago, a movement started, a nationalist movement called Zionism. These were non-religious Jews. It was a total transformation to nationalism. But they're using my religion since then as a convenient tool to silence anybody who wants to stop them in their tracks when they want to realize the establishment or the solidification of their home, their sovereignty that they want to create. But the sovereignty is being created in the land of another people. There was over 500 villages that were there. The Jews were living there. My relatives were living in Palestine, were living in the Holy Land for generations as a distinctly different religion than the Muslims, in peace and tranquility. They lived in every other Muslim land. In fact, the Muslim countries took in the Jews. The difference of religion is not the issue. The issue here is that some 100-odd years ago, a movement of nationalists to make a national home came along and decided they wanted to first go to Uganda, anything, because they weren't religious. They had a concept of ignoring, actually, that we're forbidden to establish a state, and we're forbidden to kill or steal. And we have to actually, we're required to show gratitude to people that were kind to us. The Muslim communities embraced us, including not only in Iraq and in Iran and Egypt and so forth, but in Palestine. The Ottoman Empire took us in, and we flourished there. So now, but in order for this group of people to establish their state, they had a problem, a technical problem, because there were people living there. They had a narrative that it was land without a people, but then when people started realizing there were a people there, so they simply vilified them and say they hate the Jews. This is by us so despicable, so unacceptable, and it is a fact, because we have old Muslims and old Jews who can testify how we coexisted. There was no human rights groups, no United Nations. The establishment of the state is based on using my religion to claim they have a deed to the land, the Torah, a deed to the land to take that land, and the Palestinians are taking it from them, and the ones who are trying to stop their homes being stolen, they're anti-Semitic, they hate Jews. It's all hogwash. It's not true. It's again, it was an inhabited land, and they're taking the home away, and the deed that they're claiming, first of all, it's not an issue, because the people that we're talking about a thousand of years ago, 2,000 years, but even that would be peace, so let's just, but that deed is false. The rabbis told us, and we are not allowed to, according to the Jewish religion, take that home away. Now what they're doing is they've so vilified the people of Palestine that if let's just say one murderer, it hurts us, of course, the death of the people in the October 7th. But if we let's just say one of those, let's just say one murderer is in a schoolyard of 1,000 children. Which country would say you can bomb and kill 1,000 children? We're having this.
Rabbi, I apologize, but 5
okay.
minutes is
So
up.
basically, and it's over 75 years that there's thousands of Jews dying for the cause of Zionism and the Palestinian people. Before that, we weren't dying. It was a different religion. So that is what is anti-Semitic, and we're pleading with the world to recognize, to distinguish between our religion, Judaism, and a relatively new nationalist movement that's using a religion. And if you do that, then you would be standing up and saying, just like my grandparents died in Auschwitz and the world was silent for 5 years and everybody's tearing the hair from their head that they were silent and they feel guilty. How could you be silent when people are dying? And for what? For a nationalist movement that started a few years ago, relatively, and they're simply occupying another people. We can't be silent because you're human. And we call that godly. You're human. You cannot be silent as a human being living in this world. You dare not, and we dare not be silent when people are being murdered senselessly. For what? For people that want to make a nationalist home, that the religious people right across here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, the most religious communities, and in Jerusalem, they don't have an Israeli flag, and they're giving their lives for the religion. Because Israel is not an issue by us. It's not that it's important.
Rabbi, I'm sorry.
Right. So
There's
therefore,
a lot
I
of
plead
people
with
that
you,
want to speak.
stand up and do what you can and save these human beings. Thank you.